Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at fractional linear equation. If you have a fractional linear equation, your first step is I want you to find the LCD, lowest common denominator. So I have 4 and 2, so my LCD would be 4. Now if you didn't know your LCD is 4, here's a little trick to help you. Now I focus on my bigger denominator, which is 4. Would 2 divide 4 evenly? The answer is yes. So your LCD is 4. Now my next step is I'm going to create equivalent fractions. So I look at my denominator here. It is 4. So to make this stay 4, I would times by 1, which means in my numerator I'm going to times by 1. Therefore, 3x times 1 is 3x. Okay, this 4 here, I'm going to make a fraction. I'm going to put it over 1. Now, the denominator is a 1. To make it a 4, I would have to times by 4, numerator and denominator. 4 times 4 is 16. Here, I have a 2. To change 2 into the 4, I would have to times the denominator by 2 and the numerator by 2. And 1 times 2 is 2. So these here are equivalent fractions. Notice 3x over 4 is the same 3x over 4 because we multiplied by 1. 16 over 4 is actually 4 if you divide that, and 2 over 4 is actually a half. Now once you've created your equivalent fractions, I want you to cross out the denominator. The reason you're crossing out the denominator is that because they're equivalent. All we're left with is the numerator, which is 3x minus 16 equals to 2. So we're back to just a normal linear equation, no fractions whatsoever, and we can solve this. We would add 16 to both sides, 3x equals to 18, and solving for x, divide both sides by 3, so x has a value of 6. So when you cross out the denominators, your last step is just to solve the equation. And that wasn't too difficult. Basically what we did was we found the LCD, created equivalent fractions, cross out the denominator, and just work with the numbers in the numerator, which is just a simple linear equation. I have x over 3 plus x over 2 equals to 40. This 40 I'm going to make a fraction over 1. So I have to find my LCD. Now remember that little trick I showed you? Focus on the greater denominator, which is 3. Would 2 divide 3 evenly? The answer is no. So what you're going to do is you're going to multiply these two numbers. 3 times 2 is 6. So your LCD is 6. To make this 3 a 6, I would times by 2, top and bottom. 2 times x is 2x. To make the 2 a 6, I would times by 3. 3 times x is 3x. Here's a 1. To make it 6, I would have to times by 6. 6 times 40 would give me 240. And again, the denominators are all alike, so I'm going to cross it out, leaving me with 2x plus 3x equals to 240. Now notice on the left hand side I have two values which are both x's, so I can combine. That would be 5x equals to 240. And solving for x, I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So x has a value of, so 48. Now on your test, your problems will look similar to these ones. So here, make this a fraction. I'm going to put this over 1. My denominators are 3, 4, 1, and 3. So if I focus on the greater number 4, I know 3 can't divide 4 evenly. So when I times 3 times 4, my LCD is 12. So I'm going to start to make my equivalent fractions. To make 3 12, I would times by 4. 4 times 1 is 4. To make 4 12, I would times by 3. 3 times x is 3x. This is a 1. To make it 12, I would times by 12. 2 times 12 is 24. Here is 3. To make it 12, I would times by 4. 4 times 2x is 8x. These are all the same, so I'm going to cross that out, leaving me with 4 minus 3x equals to 24 minus 8x. And this is variables on both sides, so solving for x, I'm going to add 8x to both sides. This is eliminated. I have 4 plus 5x equals to 24. Solving for my x, subtract 4 on both sides. I get 5x equals to 20. And as you know in class, you can skip some steps. When you get here, you can write that x is equals to 4. Now sometimes they put the a right here in the middle. So you have 5 over 12a minus 1/8 equals to 3 over 4 minus 1 over 6a. Even though the a is in the middle, it actually belongs to the numerator, never the denominator. So everything always goes up. The a is actually with the 5. So your denominators are 12, 8, 4, and 6. So we have to find our LCD. Our LCD would be 24. So we have 24 and 24 here. 24 and 24. Now to make this 12 and 24, I would have to times by 2. So this is 2 times 5 times a, which is 10a. To make the 8 24, I would have to times by 3. 1 times 3 is 3. To make the 4 24, I would have to times by 6. 6 times 3 is 18. And to make this 6 24, I would have to times by 4. So this is 1 times a times 4, which is 4a. Cross out the denominator. I end up with 10a minus 3 equals to 18 minus 4a. This is easy to solve, variables on both sides. So solving for a, I'm going to add 4a to both sides. I get 14a minus 3 equals to 18. Solving for a, add 3 to both sides. I get 14a equals to 21. Solving for a, I'm going to divide both sides by 14. This cancels. I get a equals to 21 over 14. Now I know 14 can't divide 21 evenly, so my answer is a fraction. Can I reduce? The answer is yes. Both of these numbers are divisible by 7, so my answer is 3 over 2. And I'm finished. Now these are my last 2 problems. Now these look different than the previous 4 problems. This is a fraction equaling a fraction. And whenever I have something like this, I don't find the LCD. I simply cross multiply. So the 3 is going to multiply the 4x plus 6, equaling the 5, which is multiplying the 8x plus 5. So it's when you have a fraction equaling a fraction, you can use cross multiplication. Cross multiply. Here I have 12x plus 18 equals 40x plus 25. And then you can simply solve for x. I'm going to minus 40x on both sides. So that would give me negative 28x plus 18 equals to 25. Solving for x, I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides. Negative 28x equals to 7. Solving for x, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 28. So x equals, now because the negative is in the denominator, it means the whole problem is negative. So I'm going to put a negative sign in the middle. I have 7 over 28. 28 can't divide 7, so my answer is a fraction. Can I reduce? The answer is yes. I can divide both of these by 7, so my answer is negative 1 over 4. Over here, same thing. I have a fraction equaling a fraction, so you're just going to simply cross multiply. So I'm going to have 4 times x plus 7 equals 3 times x minus 1. Remember, the 4 is multiplying everything inside, so that's 4x plus 28 equals the same thing with the 3. It's multiplying every term. 3x minus 3. I'm solving for x, so I'm going to minus 3x on both sides. I get x plus 28 equals to negative 3. Solving for x, I'm going to subtract 28 from both sides. So x has a value of negative 31. And you're finished. So these are your fractional linear equations. I hope this has been helpful.